of 2018, and it is their current new flagship. So this is the smaller of the two, the P20, whilst the bigger version is called the P20 Pro. And there are a few differences which we'll come to in our separate versus feature, which you can check out on our YouTube channel. But first of all, let's look at what's on the front here. So we're rocking a 5.8-inch display, but again we have moved, like with the Mate 10 Pro, they've gone for a longer aspect ratio, like we've seen on a lot of other phones at the tail end of last year and now this year. It's an 18.7:9 aspect ratio across. It's a 5.8-inch panel, and you do of course get a notch up here, which is now becoming customary with the upcoming version of Android, Android P. Google's actually factoring this in so that developers can kind of factor in a notch design in case more phones rock this look. Huawei does actually include a feature to disable this, and by that I mean they actually add a black bar over the status bar, so it looks like a continuous bar, more along the lines of the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S9, which is a nice touch in that respect if you don't like looking at the notch. But it's there either way. You still swipe down as you do on this Emotion UI 8.1, I believe it is, software experience. And everything is fairly familiar if you've used the P10 from last year, or of course the Mate 10 and Mate 10 Pro. Down the bottom here we have the fingerprint sensor beneath the on-screen navigation button. So we have seen lots of Huawei phones where they've moved the fingerprint sensors around the back, and on last year's P10 they actually got rid of the software buttons by default and instead had all the interaction going through the fingerprint sensor. That's now reverted, so I think you still have the option to jump between the two, but the fingerprint sensor is still just kind of nestled into the bezel there at the bottom, which is perfectly fine. It's a bit awkward to get at maybe because of the sheer height of the phone, but overall you shouldn't have too many issues if you're holding this in a natural position. Now if I move around to the side here, we've got a metal frame all the way around the edge of the phone, and this phone is IP53 certified as I understand it, so it's not as hardy or as water resistant as say the likes of the Samsung Galaxy S9 or the iPhone 10, but it will have some resistance to drips and such. And I'm holding it on the bottom here because you might notice there's no headphone jack. Huawei will most likely include a USB-C to 3.5mm adapter in box, but nonetheless it's a nice clean look even if you're going to miss the headphone jack. And then on the back, you might see yourself here, right? But this is one of, I believe it's 5 different colorways that the P20 will arrive in, and depending on market, so not all colors will hit every market, just buff it up there, but we do have a glass back here. This is the midnight blue option, but there's also a champagne gold, a pink gold, twilight, and the pink, gold and twilight are actually radiated options, so they kind of change as you move down the colorway, and you'll see that in our P20 Pro hands-on. There's not really a lot on the back here, obviously, because that fingerprint sensor is down the bottom and the front. It's basically a clear back. You've got the Huawei logo down the bottom there. You have the dual Leica camera system, similarly to last year's P10. You've got a dual tone LED flash here. You've got the laser focusing array. And the two cameras that we're working with here, we have a 12 megapixel RGB sensor and a 20 megapixel mono sensor, with an f1.8 and f1.6 aperture respectively. So that again gives you much of the same if I jump around to the camera experience. You get 2 times hybrid zoom, so you get nice zoom with basically lossless effects there. You get the same AI learning, which I'll talk about the processor in a second, but it still has that object recognition, so it can see that these are flowers to the right of frame here, which is nice. And there's a whole host of things going on behind the scenes. If we jump through, there's a few extra modes. We've got things like AR lens now, which we haven't seen before from Huawei's phones. And everything else is basically the same. You can shoot up to a 20 megapixel image despite the RGB sensor only actually technically topping out at 12 meg. Meanwhile on the front, up the top here, there's actually a 24 megapixel selfie snapper, so a really high-res selfie snapper if you like to get those selfies. And Huawei's also always been really good at implementing beauty mode, so if you want to fiddle around with the beauty settings, make yourself look extra beautiful, then you have that option with all of the functionality in here. There's also fun features like aperture mode, so you can, and motion photo sort of effects, so you can get little snippets of video when you hit the shutter, and it'll capture that in the gallery. You can also refocus after the fact on certain shots, so if I take a snap, you can actually change the aperture level in real time or once you've taken the photo because of that dual camera array, like we've seen on a lot of the most recent flagship phones. On the inside we are rocking a Huawei's own Kirin 970 chipset, so it's the same processor that we were first introduced to with the Mate 10 Pro, and that actually includes 4 gigs of RAM backing it up, and the same NPU or neural processing unit that we saw in the Mate 10 Pro, which is what you saw there doing the scene recognition in the camera app. You also get things like, I don't know if we have it on this particular build, this isn't final software that we're jumping around right now, But yeah, you do get the Microsoft translator, which Huawei and Microsoft work together on this particular build of the app, which gives you really impressive real-time language translation with both spoken, typed, and even through the camera. So you have that capability too. Storage-wise, we have 128 gigabytes of internal space. No micro SD expandability. You do get 4G up to Cat 18, which is pretty impressive stuff. And in the back there's a 3,400 mAh cell with Huawei's own supercharged tech in there too, which again takes place via USB-C. Now that's about everything we can tell you about this phone out the gate. We'll know more come the pricing and availability once the phone has kind of gets closer to launch. But if you have any questions about this phone off the bat, you can drop us a line down below in the comments, and you can stay tuned for more comparisons and more hands-ons with Huawei's latest blowers. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.